Hey guys, Chainer here again, and today is going to be the first episode of a new series called Diablo 3 Basics, where we talk about one aspect of Diablo 3 that's important for a level 70 player to know. Alright, so if you're looking for a level 1 to 70 and gearing guide, I'll leave an annotation right up here, because that's a completely separate thing. Alright, so today, what are we going to talk about? Actually, someone was asking yesterday in my stream to talk about followers and gearing them. So that's what we're going to do today. Alright, so our main follower, mainly the go-to guy, you know, is the Templar. The Templar is the go-to guy, and that's because he heals you for 200k right here, which is great, and then he has another heal right here, where he heals you for 182k. Two heals, they're both on 30-second cooldowns. Apparently cooldown reduction on your gear will apply to these. And how do you want to set up your followers? Okay, so when you're in a solo game, the main trick that everyone knows, it's completely legit, it's intended and everything. Early on in the game, people actually confuse this for an exploit. Not the case. Alright, so you got this ring called Unity. And on the Unity, it says all damage taken is split between the wearers of the item. Alright, so this works in a solo game. You don't want to use this in a group game. What happens is, if, you have one player here and then one player 10 screens ahead fighting mobs, well, you're going to be standing there with nothing around you and you're going to start taking damage. As long as you're in the same map, you're going to split damage. Definitely not a grouping item, but when you're solo, you put one on yourself and one on your follower, and then this will split half the damage your follower takes goes to you, half the damage you take goes to your follower. But then you wear a follower item which says equip on follower. Your follower can't die. This actually makes it so your follower doesn't take damage. So what winds up happening is that 50% of your damage after all your defenses apply, so the most powerful reduction, 50% goes over to your follower, and your follower doesn't take any damage, so nothing comes back to you. It just flat out halves the damage that you take, which is great. And like I said, the Templar is generally the best to use. I mean, the other followers do have some nice skills. They have little buffs and stuff like that. The follower could also give you resource per second, so for some classes that's good, instead of taking the second heal. And now a good weapon to use both on the Enchantress and the Templar is a Thunder Fury. Now Enchantress can use a one-handed weapon. And the Thunder Fury, the reason is, like, your follower is not really going to do good damage. Not really at all. But the Thunder Fury has a debuff where each enemy hit has their attack speed and movement speed reduced by 30% for 3 seconds. So Thunder Fury is really the go-to weapon here. As the necklace, you could use Overwhelming Desire, which is an Act 3 cash item. So you could farm that fairly easily. And what it has is chance on hit to charm enemy. While the enemy's charmed, it takes 35% more damage. You could also use the S of Johann, which has a chance to pull all the enemies into the Templar. That's a great one. Now for the rings, you could use a Bull Kathos Wedding Band. What this will do is it ticks for 0.4% of a monster's health twice per second, up to a maximum of 2000% weapon damage. Now, while my Templar doesn't have that great of damage, 2000% is still pretty decent. So you could use the Bull Kathos Wedding Band, or you could use a Widward Ring. And a Widward Ring gives you a chance on lightning damage to stun an enemy. And that's great. So those are your two choices there. The Thunder Fury has lightning damage as the primary bonus, so that will proc it, and the proc from Thunder Fury will proc the Widward. As for a shield on the Templar, I just use the Freeze of Deflection. The shield's there's really nothing too great, honestly. So Freeze Deflection has a chance to freeze attacker for 1.5 seconds. Not a big deal, but it's something. Alright, so, you know, that pretty much covers it for the Templar as your go-to guy for the follower. And over here, like I said, you're going to choose the first one in the first one of the two in the first three. So heal, loyalty, charge, and then at the bottom you could either opt for the second heal or resource per second. Some classes that resource per second is really good. As a barbarian, in my build, don't really need it. Alright, so we could go over the Templar a little bit. What the Templar has is Hysteria and Anatomy. Anatomy increases crit hit chance by 1.8 for you and your Scoundrel. And then I actually prefer Hysteria. It increases damage done by 3% for 3 seconds whenever you or the Scoundrel land a critical hit. So Hysteria is great, and the rest of them are just, you know, it's just stuff for the Scoundrel himself. But the reason why you would get a Scoundrel is Hysteria for that bonus 3% damage. Bariza is a decent weapon. It freezes, makes your projectiles pierce. Yeah, actually the old Bariza, if you're playing on non-season, the old Bariza from vanilla Diablo 3 is really good. Because like I said, your followers aren't really doing much damage. And then you got your Enchantress. And like I said, Thunder Fury is great. Of course, you want the follower can't die. Over here, we got Charm. So charm an enemy to fight for you, where you can still do damage to a charmed enemy. Buffs you and the Enchantress, reducing damage from range attacks, which is nice for the missile ward. This one makes it so enemies take 3% increased damage, but it's for 5 seconds and it's a 15-second cooldown. So, and then over here you have a Hex, or you could have an attack speed buff, which is good for some classes, but you know, for me and Barbarian in my build, not really so great. Just going back to the Templar, I know I'm using Overwhelming Desire, but I'd probably suggest the Essa Johan. I just have that on him for now, so. And that's about it, guys. That's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. If you want, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment below. It'd be awesome, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.